Hey guys, what's up? This is Motto, and this is the most recent version of my Fables. Now, before I get started, I would like to say there are a couple of things that I'm playing around with this deck right now. I'm still testing, but I will, like, tell you what I did put in place and all that other good stuff. So, let's get started. Just basic stuff. You have Triple Chawa. The deck needs Triple Chawa. It's the best discard outlet out there, and it's a 1-star tuner. You have Triple Grimro. Triple Grimro searches for the deck, and it's never dead. Plus, I do run 2 Riles in here, but I'll get to that a little later when I actually get to them. I only run 2 Cerebral. I've been running Fabled for a while now, and I find that running more than 2 Cerebrals is actually pretty dead. And the only thing that you can actually synchro with it is any of your level 4s, so Tengu or Ryo, maybe even a Grimro, or a Ganashia to go into 5. So it's not as synergetic as Chawa is, but it's still good to have. So I'm only running 2. 2 Ganashia. The same thing as a Cerebral. It can only pretty much get synchroed with that, or if you're gonna synchro like 8 with a Tengu and a Chawa or something. But I don't like it because it gets removed from play. And that and Cerebral pretty much are what you always want to synchro with. I run 2 Kushano. The reason why I run 2 Kushano is because even back when Trishula wasn't banned, he still gets removed fairly often from the graveyard. And it's always really good to have him in there because of the fact that he's in like an infinite discard option. And if you have Valkyris, he's a +1 every turn because you discard something to get him to your hand and then you just drop him to draw a card. Not to mention, he's another 3-star tuner, and it's not bad to have 3-star tuners in your deck. So, that's why I run him. I run 2 Cruise. Running 3 Cruises is dead. I've noticed that if you run more than 2 Cruises, you will draw it often first hand. And drawing a Cruise first hand isn't what you usually want. Like, usually what you want to try to do is search it out with a Grimro, but every now and then you can't pull off the combos, and when you do pull off the combos, you feel like a god. Now, currently, I am teching 2 Doppel Warriors. Would I run this? Yes, because, there's a lot of special summoning from the graveyard, technically. When they get discarded to the graveyard, they get special summoned, so Doppel Warriors effect is always live. And, he gives you 1-star tokens when he's synchroed with. The field usually never gets that cluttered, to be honest, and it's just another 2-star free special summon. What I ran instead is a 1 Luri and a 1 Fabled Nozochi. Now, the reason why I'm testing this out instead of that way is because the Fabled Nozochi, what I would usually do with that is discard 1 card, and then special another level 2 from my hand. So it would be a way to get, the cards out of my hand. Now, basically what I would do here is, summon Chawa, summon another, random one, and then this guy gets special summoned. Which is basically what Fabled Nozochi would be, because Fabled Nozochi is also a level 2. But with him, he creates more combos because he gets tokens. And the same thing with Luri. I took the Luri up because Luri is only in there to be a level 1 for Millisynchron. So I figure I might as well try it out with Doppel Warriors and see how that works. I run 2 Thunder King Riles. The meta just calls for you have to run these. Well, not necessarily. If you're running like an OTK variant of it, then you don't need them. But since I'm more of a, controlled player, then I like to run the Riles because it's a really strong first turn move, and it's also very hard for heroes and all that other stuff. 2 Tengus. Now, Tengus are just a must-have in this deck. If you're not running Tengus and Fables, there's something wrong with you. Unless, of course, you're teching in Phantom Sky Blasters or something, which I've experimented with before, and it's not that bad. But, Tengu is still really viable in this deck, because even if you do summon him or whatever, you still have another one to get out. Now, I main deck 1 Spirit Reaper. Reason being, he's also a really good strong opening turn. He can be used for offense to make your opponent discard a card. Obviously, I will side that out for like a Galen Duo or even a Carno Force Zero the Fool, depending on who it is that I'm playing against. But once again, that's all on you. Side deck is not where I'm, my best. Once again, search out for the entire deck. That's, not necessary. And this is another thing that I'm teching, 1 Tricky. I'm going back and forth between 1 Tricky and 1 Monster Reincarnation, but I'm liking the Tricky more right now because of the Doppel Warriors, because I can special Tricky, special Cerebral, and then special Doppel, and then that's an instant Mistworm. So it gives me better plays, and it's an easier way to synchro into 9. and it's also an easy way to synchro into 8 with a Cruciano, so I'm just testing it out. So that's it for the monster, guys. I'm pretty sure it's like, what, maybe 22, 21, maybe 23 monsters, if anything. So it's not that bad, but it's also not as high as any of my other Fabled builds. Now going into spells, you have 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Dark Hole, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Book of Moon, and in this deck, I main deck triple MST. Now, it's no surprise that in any of my builds, I always try to have as much back row hate as possible. And I experimented with Regeki Break in this deck, but the way that I'm running it, it doesn't really work out. So I figured running, the 3rd MST is, just the better way to go. And I'm a real big, advocator of back row hate. So having 3 MST and Heavy Storm in the same format is really nice for me. 1 card destruction and 2 Dark Roll Dealings, just for that added discard power. Now, Dark Roll Dealings is really good with anything else on a Doppel Warrior in your hand, because you draw 1 card and you special summon and then you get Doppel, whatever, blah 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 blah. These obviously will be cited out against anything else, and card destruction is just good if you read your opponent and you feel like they have a Gorz or a Trag or something in their hand. Pot of Avarice is self-explanatory, as is Mind Control, just because you can take all their monsters since you have a high tuner count. And that's it for the spells. It's just pretty, staples, except for maybe card destruction or Dark Roll Dealings. Traps, you have double warning, double compulse. When Fiendish Chains get reprints, I will put Fiendish Chains in here instead of these, just because it's a lot better. I've been thinking about running Forbidden Chalice over Fiendish Chains, but the reason why I'm running Fiendish Chains is because it stops an attack as well as the effect of a monster. So, I will be experimenting with that, but we'll see where everything goes. And 1 Starlight. Now, I know I don't run a lot of back row, but opening up first turn with any of these and a Starlight is really good, because you're not going to get first turn heavied, and if you open up with like a Ryo or something, you can just sit behind your back row in your field and just save up for the OTK. Not to mention, if you have this preset and you're afraid of them having a Torrential, you can just go off, no problem, and then activate that, get you a free Stardust, and then usually it helps you go into Shooting Star. So that's it for the main deck. I run strictly 40 cards on all my decks. I try not to run anymore because I just hate it when people do. Now, extra deck, I run 1 Formula Synchron. Again, for Doppel Warrior, I do try to run Quasar on this deck, and I do run Shooting Star, so it's just one way to get it out. 1 Armory Arm. I found myself needing to go level 4 a lot more than I used to because of the Doppel Warriors and all that. So I'm taking in the Armory Arm. It's actually been pretty good because it gets over a lot of stuff because of that 1000 attack boost. 1 Fabled Unicorn, my other level 4. He's really good if you summon him on your turn, because then if you know that they have something good in their back row, then you can just negate it. I'm still not clear if he can negate counter traps or not, but if he can, then that's even better, because then you can just go off with him in your hand. 1 Librarian, just honestly self-explanatory. 2 Fabled Reagan. Now I run 2 because this guy is like the whole Fabled engine. You summon him, you draw 2. From those 2 draws, you just go off, and needless to say, if you have a Librarian, it makes it even better because then you just draw 3 cards. 1 Gaia. He's one of the best 6-star targets you can possibly ever want. Brionic, because you're running Fableds, and if you don't run a Brionic in Fableds, then you are just completely insane. Unless, of course, you can't afford it. But then again, Bryals did come out super, and they are getting reprinted in the Gold series, so everybody should be able to get their hands on one. 1 Ancient Sacred Wyvern. Ancient Sacred Wyvern is great because he is one of the cards that can help you OTK most of the times. He gains a difference in life points, so as long as you deal 2,900 damage prior to him attacking, then it will be 8,000 flat, and that's just always really good to have. 1 Black Rose, just staple in any deck that synchros a lot. If you really need to, you can blow up the field and gain your field advantage. 1 Stardust Dragon. Stardust is self-explanatory as well. You need Stardust in anything. 1 Fabled Valkyris. He's a big beater, 29 attack isn't bad. And his effect of discarding a Fiend to draw a card is really good with Cruciano. But usually I just use him to get over big monsters. 1 Mistworm. Trishula is banned. No need to explain anything. Shooting Star. If you get him out, he's actually pretty annoying to get over. And if they don't have a deck that just completely demolishes everything, then Shooting Star can actually be quite a problem. And then my Shooting Quasar Dragon, otherwise known as TG Halberd Cannon. I still haven't gotten my hands in a Quasar, but when I do, that's obviously going to come straight out. Now, side deck is completely up to you. The way that I run my side deck is, pretty secretive, but I did get an idea from a friend to run super polys in my side deck because I am running lights, and if I play against heroes, and obviously it's going to be the easiest way to disrupt them when they think that they're going to disrupt you. But yeah, that's it for my Fabled deck list. I hope you enjoyed, and peace out.